We're going to go over the plate joint, which will be a good joint for joining plywood pieces together. We've got a Freud plate joiner, which I actually don't like that well, and we've got a DeWalt, which I like better, but partly because I've got this one, but I'll try to show you why. So the plate joiner is, it's got a small saw blade in here, and it's just going to cut in and make a little cut that looks like an arc, and then we'll put a little plate in there that it's sort of like a short spline. So we can use it to, we could put two pieces, you know, make a side of the cabinet like this. So I think one reason I don't like this one that much is it's just more of a contraption to me to use the depth setting. But also when we get to doing putting miters together, this one has a feature that's kind of nice. So I'm going to go with the DeWalt for doing the demonstration. Okay, so let's do a situation where we're going to put a corner together first. So I'm going to end up with, let's say this is the side of the cabinet and this is the top of the cabinet. So I can just, I want to come in about 3 inches from the edge. And then you want the little plates to be about 6 inches on center. So we'll do 4 for this width, which is 16 inches. So sometimes I just hold my pieces together and mark them like that. If I was doing that, I'd have to be sure I do something like write A to A on here, because if I switch this out for a different size, my spacing might not be the same. So sometimes I'll also do something like make a guide block for myself and mark these on the guide block, and then I can just go through and take all of my tops and bottoms and mark them off, and all of my sides and mark them off, and I don't have to hold them together. So it sort of depends on how many parts you've got, how you want to handle that. Okay, so if this is going like this, I have to cut into the end of this one, and then I'm going to cut into this side of this one. So most people call these biscuit joints because the little splines look like biscuits, but for 3/4 inch plywood, we would use a number 20, which will be like that. If we were doing 1/2 inch plywood, we would go down to a number 10 biscuit, which would be like that. And then there's zeros, which you more often would use for a frame where you've got something that's pretty narrow. So if I'm going to do the 20 biscuit, there's a little groove right here, which is supposed to be red, but it's not. But anyway, the 20 would go toward that groove. So that would be for the 0, and that would be for the 10. And that's for mini biscuit, which we don't have, I don't think. So that just sets up how deep this cuts. So if I go to a number 10, it's not going to protrude as much. And then thickness wise, we're going to put the fence down. And then that's the center of the cut. So you can see right now the little pointer is, here's a half, is pointing at 3/8. So that would be cutting at 3/8. The center would be at 3/8. So it would be the center of a 3/4 inch piece of plywood. If I wanted to change that, I can unlock this and move the table up or down. But we're going to go back to that 3/8 setting. So this, I don't usually put the bag on because it doesn't really do anything anyway. But be sure you're aiming this thing so that it's not going to shoot right out into your face. So I'm lining up with my pencil mark, and I'm just trying to pull this forward and hold it down. So I want this to really go in parallel with the face of my plywood. I want to be sure I'm not like leaning up with this when I go in. So it does take some practice, basically. But so here's the trigger. Just let it come up to speed. This thing has some little prongs on it that should help it not to side slip when it starts in. So these would fit like that. And you can see there's a little slop side to side, which is usually helpful when you're doing a glue up. Okay, so the thing that's dangerous about this one is that it's more easy to tip this, so you really have to be careful to pull this tight and to hold it steady. Okay, so I'm lining it up with my mark, and I'm pulling it pretty hard and hooking my thumb around this so that I'm sure I'm up against the face on the side and that I'm not tipping it. You can see this is about as close as I want to get to the edge because it'll start going off the end if I get too close. So there's that. One thing you do have to think about is if you're going to use edge tape or veneer tape on your cabinet, which you probably would want to. I would want to edge tape this first because that'll keep these flush when it goes together. Otherwise, when I put the tape on, it's going to sit a little proud on this side.